Welcome to the first episode of CNU News of 2011, your only source for video news on campus. I'm Tim Krems.
And I'm Victoria Shirley. Thanks for joining us today. First in CNU news, with the old student government out and the brand new student assembly in, there may be some confusion to what the student assembly actually does. We sat down with student body president Ross Snare to talk about it.
This year, our initial goals were basically to focus on creating an atmosphere in an organization where people can come to us with any issues at all. And we've been doing it this year actually with freshmen coming up to us and saying, our residence hall's too hot, it's too cold, our water's bad, food's different, things like that. And that's the way it should be. We're an organization that's built around people coming and asking us for help. And we're going to do our best to try to help them by working with the administration, meeting with President Tribble, meeting with Bob Midgett, who's the auxiliary director, just people like that, and trying to build a relationship with these people that'll help the students' body down the road.
Looks like a great opportunity for the CNU students' voices to be heard. Speaking of CNU student voices, CNU reporter Lindsay Carter went out to see what the students think of the new student assembly in this week's Word on the Street.
This is Lindsay Carter with CNU TV, and we're hitting the campus today to ask about the student assembly. Okay, and what do you know about the student assembly here at CNU?
Nothing. I just know Ross Snare's president, and that's it.
I know I've met people that are in it, but I have no idea what it is or how to get involved at all.
Well, actually, I know a lot about it. I actually ran for elections, but I wasn't elected. Also, I know that the e-board, is Ross Snare and Judge Johnson and Torrey. I know that they've been doing work underground for CNU. They just had a bill that was emailed out. I'm not really sure what it was because I didn't care. But they are doing some kind of work here at CNU. It should be more visible, but I can't have everything I want, so.
CNU music and theater students had an opportunity to attend a lecture and masterclass from Pulitzer Prize-winning composer Marvin Hamlisch. Our own Tim Krems was in attendance to bring us the story. Tim?
Marvin Hamlisch's life in music is notable for its incredible versatility as well as its substance. Hamlisch, Oscar, Grammy, and Pulitzer Prize-winning composer came to CNU's Ferguson Center for the Arts for a one-night-only concert. Prior to his dazzling display of musical prowess, Broadway stars Heather Parcells and Louis Cleal had an interactive lecture with students on the topic of auditioning.
What's really nice about that is to be able to come into a situation where even though they've been in an educational environment, to give them a little bit of taste of what it's actually like to come into an audition. And the little things to expect, not only, they practice singing and vocal training and whatnot throughout college, but it's a whole different shock when you actually get into the room and have to partake with an accompanist and whatnot.
Knowing as much as you can at 20 years old.
Following the master classes, both Heather and Louis joined Hamlisch at his Ferguson Center show. The ability to accompany such an iconic composer is a testament to the skills Heather and Louis brought to CNU.
It's probably one of the most important things that we do, because we get our jobs by walking into a room full of strange people with sometimes our souls completely bared, sometimes our voices stretched to the utmost limits, and you just kind of have to lay everything you have on the table.
Emmys, Grammys, Tonys, Oscars, and even a Pulitzer? That's an impressive resume. Speaking of awards, let's go to the Scoop for a rundown of this award season and look at the arts and entertainment happenings at CNU. Sarah?
Thanks, Victoria. Hollywood award season is heating up, and from the looks of it, the Academy Awards are going to be pretty intense. Fresh off his Golden Globe win, Colin Firth looks like the favorite for leading actor alongside Black Swan beauty Natalie Portman for leading actress. But of course, the major controversy is in the Best Picture award. With 10 movies nominated, it looks like it will be a face-off between The Social Network and The King's Speech. Despite The Social Network's 4 Golden Globes, online predictions seem to be leaning toward The King's Speech. Whatever the outcome, it's sure to be a wild ride. For more nominations and predictions, check out Alex Heisman's Oscar Watch at www.thecaptainslog.org. This time last year, Avatar remained supreme at the box office. In 2011, however, there's yet to be a runaway hit. But with a #1 opening of roughly $20 million, the new film No Strings Attached may continue to conjure up business. CNU students Brian Field and Chelsea Brobst went to check it out. We'll get their thoughts in this week's He Said, She Said.
This week, I saw No Strings Attached starring Natalie Portman and Ashton Kutcher. The two play touch-and-go friends who agree to have a friends with benefits relationship. By setting up rules, they agree that they will not fall in love with each other. However, as many chick flicks turn out, they start having feelings for each other and the rest is predictable. Even though it turned out to be a sappy love story, the beginning half of the movie was full of one-liners and hilarious situational laughs. I would sum it up as being a season of Grey's Anatomy condensed in an hour and 45-minute film with a hint of 500 Days of Summer. If you can avoid your girlfriend's plea to go see No Strings Attached, I would say save your $10 and Redbox it.
Now here's what I have to say about No Strings Attached. The chemistry between Ashton Kutcher and Natalie Portman was amazing. However, the romantic comedy was not anything special. You could probably wait for it to come out to Redbox or Netflix. Although after you see this movie, you'll never listen to Bleeding Love the same way again.
Looks like we won't be talking about this one during next year's Oscar season. Thanks, guys. Those skipping the movie theaters last weekend had the opportunity to check out this year's homegrown concert event featuring some of the best bands CNU has to offer. We sent correspondent Josh Ravagli to cover the event.
Thanks, Sarah. Homegrown, an event sponsored by CAB, is designed to give students with musical abilities an opportunity to showcase their talents. Homegrown occurred January 28th from 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. in the York West lobby. It featured 5 bands: Funkmaster X and the Mysterious Mixologists, Ben Howard and the Stovetop Friends, Universe Sound, Mountain Wife, and Prism.
CAB does this every year because we think it's really neat that we got so much talent on this campus, and we just really want to give everybody an opportunity to see that. It was great. Actually, this is more people than I think I've ever seen.
CAB sponsors this event once a semester and provides equipment, drinks, and snacks for the students.
Homegrown is definitely a positive thing for this campus because there's so many people who are talented and need a place to sing, and there's tons of people who want to hear them, and then like it's other people who want to sing up there, and it's good.
Most students seem to have a positive reaction to this semester's Homegrown, but there was one issue which seemed to be ongoing.
I mean, honestly, I don't like the PAs. Yeah. It's the only problem, really. Yeah. This is like the perfect thing, and then the PAs just come and they just ruin it.
Despite a few sound issues, this semester's Homegrown is the most successful yet. Homegrown is an excellent chance to meet fellow music lovers and to enjoy some of CNU talent. For CNU TV, I'm Josh Ravagli.
Live music from some great local bands sounds like a lot of fun. Thanks, Josh. Well, that's it for this week. I'll be back next week to give you the scoop.
The Super Bowl is only days away, and both teams competing have resumes that explain why they're in America's biggest game. For Super Bowl talk and more info on CNU athletics, let's check in with Cassandra Vinch and this week's Overtime.
While the rest of us were enjoying winter break, the men and women's basketball teams were hard at work improving their records. The women's basketball team has only lost 2 games this season on their journey to another USA South title. Senior guard Chelsea Schwers is racking up points left and right, and she has a fighting chance at breaking the CNU record for points scored, set by CNU legend Lamont Struthers. On January 18th, the men's basketball team took on Averett University, where the captains walked away with an 80-42 victory. At the lead of the scoring was senior guard Conley Taylor and sophomore guard Jake Capon. Capon notched 13 points, a season high for him. Taylor was also perfect from the free throw line as he went 9 for 9 there on the night. Senior guard Mike Green was also a determining factor in the game as he scored 14 points and made a team-high 8 rebounds. Every year, the Super Bowl provides people with the opportunity to get together with their friends and enjoy the great game of football. This year, as the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers face off in Dallas, the winner is unknown. But with their thoughts on the subject, we shoot it to Paul and Chris for a few good minutes.
Hi, and welcome to our latest edition of A Few Good Minutes. I'm Paul Mikowski.
And I'm Chris Brooks. Today, we're going to be looking at the predictions for Super Bowl 45. Now, for my first point, I would like to simply put that Aaron Rodgers is doing a way better job of being a quarterback right now than Ben Roethlisberger. He's been more efficient, has more touchdown passes, more passing yards, and completions than Ben Roethlisberger. Yes, he's never been to the big dance, never been to the big game, but I think this will be the time that we will see Aaron Rodgers outplay a Super Bowl quarterback.
We're going to have to see. I think that Steelers squad is so experienced that there's nothing that's going to get in the way. They've already been there twice. Hines Ward has an MVP award. Ben Roethlisberger's already won 2. They have those Lombardi trophies. I personally think Mike Tomlin is probably the best defensive coach in the league, arguably the best overall head coach. I just think you can't argue with the experience there. That entire defensive line and all those linebackers, James Farrier, Larry Foote, all those guys, and the entire secondary with Troy Polamalu, they're just unstoppable. They've been there. They know what to do.
Okay, that's a good point to bring up. I would have to agree with you there. The only thing I would like to bring up, since you were talking about defense, the Packers defense has just been so impressive lately. Not only leadership from Clay Matthews, A.J. Hawk, but also Charles Woodson. I mean, these guys are out there throwing crazy, ridiculous blitz packages that have just been putting down quarterbacks week after week. Michael Vick got slowed down. Matt Ryan, frustrated. And even last week, Jay Cutler, MCL sprain, out of the game. I mean, they have gotten to the quarterback week after week. And don't forget, the Steelers have the worst offensive line in the league. And I think they're going to be big enough to knock down Big Ben for the count.
We're going to have to see what happens. Now, the thing about the Packers is obviously Aaron Rodgers is the center point of that offense, but they're also going to rely on their running game. Jacobs is their starting running back right now, but the Steelers have the #1 rated rush defense in the entire league, and that goes for the entire 2010 season, including playoffs. Either way, it's going to be a fantastic game. 2 great defenses, 2 great quarterbacks, 2 classic teams that have been to those championships before. Unfortunately, we're out of time right now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this latest edition of A Few Good Minutes. I'm Paul Mikowski, and for Chris Brooks, thank you for joining us. Back to you, Cassie.
I guess the only way to settle that debate is to see what happens on Sunday. But I'll say that I'm pulling for the Packers because the Steelers took my Jets out of the running last week. For more student opinions, check out this week's Captain's Log. Well, that about wraps it up here in the sports world. For Overtime, I'm Cassie Vinch. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Cassie. Sounds like it's going to be a great game. Who do you think is going to win, Victoria?
I think the Packers might win.
I'm looking forward to a Steelers victory myself, but at least we got an episode of Glee afterwards.
That's true. Glee is awesome.
So, have you ever wondered what you would do if something unexpected happened on campus?
Sure.
Well, in our newest segment, CNU TV's What Would You Do?, we found out just exactly what some students do when their normal routine takes an unexpected turn.
My name's Alyssa, and on this week's segment of What Would You Do?, Lindsay and Chris took some newspapers and walked through the library at DSU. They did a dramatic trip to see if anyone would help them pick them up.
I was working on a project and I heard something hit the floor behind me, and I turned around and she had dropped a bunch of newspapers on the ground.
Well, I felt the need that she needed help, and this is my good chance to help.
Well, I heard a noise and I saw a bunch of people looking behind me, and I saw this guy had fallen down. There were a bunch of papers all over the floor.
And why did you decide to help him?
I felt bad that he had fallen. So I felt like it's just great to help him pick it up.
What an interesting perspective. Thanks, Alyssa. We'll continue to throw a few wrenches in the machine as the semester continues, so look out because we're trying to find out what would you do.
Well, that does it for this week's episode of CNU TV. Be sure to tune in next week for more sports, entertainment, and happenings here around the campus. I'm Victoria Shirley.
And I'm Tim Krems. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be seeing you later.